All right, it's Run the North with Will and Jason. Week 7 is well underway. We just wrapped up the afternoon slate of games. Vikings fall to the Eagles, dropping their record to 3-3. Bears win out over the Saints, getting them up to 4-2. I don't remember the last time the Bears had a better record than the Vikings, honestly, at least for any stretch of time. But I won the pre-podcast coin flip. And based on the Vikings game, I elected to defer. So Jason's going to be talking about the Bears game, which I saw none of and got very little coverage of. So eager to hear how they worked over the hapless Saints.
Yeah, it's fun to do the coin toss because I'm noticing a trend between you and I. It's the team who does worse usually wants the ball in the second half because they want a chance to stew. Let the guy get his good points out, let him have his moment, and then bruh. So I can't wait to get into that.
I'm just kind of hoping like a giant meteor hits the earth before I have to talk about this Vikings game. So maybe I just just delayed another 10-15 minutes and I won't ever have to talk about that game again.
Ooh-wee.
So, right, well, Bears, what was the final score there? Like 24-12 or something like that?
26-14, very close game on the scoreboard, but this game was all Bears. It should have been 40 rip. Like, it should have been that much of a blowout. And there were still some points where the Bears were killing themselves with penalties, a couple of stupid things, but even then, some of those penalties were ticky-tack. A lot of carryover from the Washington game in that similar sense. But at the same time, the Bears have done nothing to deserve the benefit of the doubt, so we're going to keep dealing with that. It's frustrating as all hell, but until you get to a point where you're winning playoff games, you're going to be on the ass end of those. Got it. And now I get to the Saints are trash, but neither here nor there. You're not here to hear me whine about refs again. I got a whole spotlight on that last week. One thing I thought overall about this game that was sweet was you just kind of felt two things. One, the Bears kind of just improved a little bit from last week and a little bit more from the week before and the week before and the week before. And now we're on a 4-game win streak. We are out here and we are streaking 4 in a row, baby. Love that. The other thing that was like noticeable, audibly noticeable as a fan, just watching on my couch, and also the broadcast brought it on. Daryl Johnson's the same Moose, that's his nickname. But he was like, oh, wow, a lot of pads popping. The Bears were hitting, and it was so like you heard the plastic on plastic clap, helmet to pads, pads to pads, and it was first time in a while. Like, I didn't even have any beers during this game, and I'm like fired up.
Let's go.
Like, it's fall morning. My football juice is going. I used to play like, oh man. And it was every drive, as early and often. We had a couple of targeting penalties, which, it's one of the ones where the defender's launching with the shoulder and the offender's going down and you catch his helmet. It's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But then, whatever. But you just see it on both special teams. They're popping on punts, punt returns. They're popping on kickoffs. They're popping up the middle. They only give up 44 yards rushing as a defense. We had 4 takeaways. We had 4 sacks, honestly. So I think it was 3 picks and a fumble. Honestly, there were 3 other balls that should have been picked. Like one literally Byard caught and then got knocked out. And there were 2 others like through the linebacker's hands, but it's also like, that's why he's a linebacker.
Sure.
So, that was a big revenge game for DA because he used to be the head coach in DC there for the longest time. So
So he had a little extra skin in the game there.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it was something to be said for having some guys healthy because, TJ Edwards had her first game back last week. He looked to be in control of the middle of that defense, and then you have Brisker and Kyler Gordon coming off the edge. Both had sacks and if not pressures coming that way. So just see how multiple they can be. The third down statistics, I don't have them in front of me, but they were continue to be great. I know overall for the season, our yardage given up is not great, but our third down efficiency on defense, and I think now because Jacksonville got waxed by the Rams, the Bears might now be the number 1 takeaway defense this early in the season.
Really?
Pretty cool. Yeah. On offense, Caleb was a game manager today. Everything just looked a little out of rhythm as far as, our first 2 drives, 2 and outs, 3 and out. And then we got a turnover and another 3 and out, or maybe it was a short field goal because we got the ball at 25, but 3 plays regardless. It just looked weird. Our left tackle, the undrafted free agent out of Canada last year, got hurt. Theo Benedict, the Canadian Eagle, played a great game last week against Washington. How we know it was a great game was we never heard his name once.
That's usually a good sign.
Yeah, right. Today, first 2 drives, Chase Young gave him fits. Pressure quick, a couple batted balls off the edge. So it was a little concerning. Drew Dahlman, there was a couple of snap issues. He like double snapped a ball, and Bears got away with murder because he like flinched it and then snapped it. And as a result of the snap, it got fumbled on a 4th and 2 at like the 3-yard line going in.
Oh.
So it ended the drive, turned the ball over, and give the Saints momentum and the ball back. Instead, they called it,
false start.
Legal procedure. Yeah, false start, and backed it up 5 yards, and we got to keep the ball and kicked it. And I don't really know how that goes. It's not often that even a mess up like that goes in our favor, so I can't complain. But I think the commentators were right by calling that to the attention. It's like, we got to change something, that you can't give a plus to a team that made a mistake. And they brought it to Mike Pereira, the official rules guy that they always have in studio. And he's like, yeah, so the play was blown dead before it started, and now you want to penalize a team that didn't call a play? Yeah, that's not going to that's not going to make it to the floor, bud.
Yeah.
He's like, I know, but you see my point. It's like, yeah, good luck. Mm-hmm. Which often, as the Bears fan, like I said, often we're on the short end of that all the time. So it's just like, oh, yeah, shut up. It's fine.
Yeah.
But then, so the other part on offense too, like the receiving game, you had a bunch of guys, 3-4 catches, 30, 40 yards. It was fine. But the most notable, we had 2 running backs total for like 220 yards at rushing, which you talked 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Absolutely no run game. Mm-hmm. And I think, was it Swift had 120 and Manungai had 81.
Yeah, that's your guy, right? I think that's kind of his first kind of big splash in the NFL, right? He's not really had more than a couple runs in a game up to this point, and now he went
exactly
81 for 13 or 13 for 81 and a tutty for a 6.2 average.
And you can see too, like, so first was it before the bye, got a couple of touches, then you hear over the bye, oh, we're gonna balance this out, we're gonna get him the ball. Then I think he got half a dozen, maybe closer to a dozen touches last week, and then now he's well over a dozen touches this week between that and the receiving game as well. It was very effective. I like the balance and power because he's so short squat-ish, almost like an MJD type, not as explosive breakaway speed, but very good contact balance. It's kind of fun to watch. And you see what a run game does for such a below average game. Like, Caleb just had to manage that game. You'd want to see more because he was on an upward trend. It was going really well, especially getting, the monkey off your back with the Commanders last week.
Sure.
But 15 of 26, not a good completion percentage, 172 yards and a pick. They're really pedestrian, but the run game made up for a lot of mistakes there because I tell you that stat line, you think the Bears get crushed. And between that and the defense showing up, that's all he had to do was manage the game. And it's something where to have that kind of control, I tell you that stat line too is like Spencer Rattler had I think he had like 40 passing yards going into half. He had 2 bombs that were broken plays, right? Mm-hmm. But he finished with 233, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. It's like, well, okay, at least the Saints were moving the ball. I was like, not really. But again, having the run game and being able to consistently have like more of a complete team win, it never felt like the Saints were going to win this game. Even when they're making their little comeback and they were only down by a touchdown, and it was like, oh, right out of the half, they're in it now. Who would have thought? It was clearly a lopsided game. Why I started the pod off saying 40 rip is what it should have been. But ultimately it wasn't. Last point about the offense here is, Odunze had a bunch of targets. He only had 2 catches, 31 yards. They didn't need him. It would have been great. I think it would have been part of the momentum to put the game away, to have a couple of those 10-yard over routes, 10-yard out routes. It was nice to see Colson Loveland get 3 catches. 2 of them were huge for big conversions or keeping the momentum going. Luther Burden needs to get the ball more because every time he does, it's 20 yards. A couple of weird, schemy handoffs in the backfield have been easily sniffed out because that's common for a package guy. But if you can route him up down the field, he not only is he effective, he's fun to watch. Like, DJ will do some little duke and dive, but he'll make some actual jukes. He'll make some guys miss, and then he'll come right back for you. It's not like he's just running away like all these little scat receiver types. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, he's got a little physicality to him is what you're saying.
Yeah, and a little bit of just attitude. Like, there's a little bit of Malik Neighbors, just more from the swag. He's not as bursty, but like the swag to it. Special team wise, I mentioned the pop, and Jake Moody went another 4 for 4. First time ever in his career kicking at Soldier Field. It's not an easy task, especially because the Saints kicker also his first time kicking there. He missed one early, but he's 27, 39, 24, and 33. So it's not like he was asked to kick 40-yarders in the wind because it was kind of a overcast, rainy day. It sounded like it got nicer as it went on. But damn, I'm glad for the first time in a while for a guy that's been a fan of a team that's been defense and running the ball. I want more offense. Well, we got more offense through running the ball, and that was kind of an attitude shift. And I'm still not quite sure I can claim an identity for the Bears yet. I would like to, because we're now just finished our 6th game, so we should pretty much know between now and week 8. But the fact that they're able to stack a little bit more, here we go again, is still a preconditioned feeling. And I think it's going to be, honestly, for the rest of the year at least. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, little conversion. Oh, 2 conversions in a row. Oh, that's a drive. We're driving. Oh my gosh.
Man, I'm not used to this.
Right, and it's just been consistent. 8-yard, 10-yard, 8-yard. It's not like, okay, it's a fluky 40-yard bomb and then it's a 3-yard run, 2-yard run, 2-yard run. Mm-hmm. It just kind of looks like what modern football is. So that's going to be unfortunately, it's something I'm going to have to probably keep bringing up just to let the therapy out until it becomes a new norm, you know?
Like, what is this feeling? Is this happiness? Is this a team I actually enjoy?
Don't you dare.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you got exactly what you're looking for from Ben Johnson. I mean, that's kind of what you're hoping for, is he brings some consistency to the offense, and maybe the identity isn't there yet. But hey, you know what your identity is right now? It's a 4-win streak team. You're win streaking. You're winning. You're playing winning football. And even if Caleb isn't shooting the lights out, you guys found a way to win. Guys are flying around hitting each other. Sounds... I think it says a lot just about confidence. Sounds like you guys have found some confidence that maybe was never quite there last year or in the years under not Nagy. Who's a guy that
Nagy?
Flus.
Before that was.
I mean, any of them really, but particularly under Flus, where it's like even if they had the same level of talent, they just always found ways to screw it up, and then that just kills your confidence. And it seems like they're playing fast and loose and confident, and it's working out for you guys. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is when you guys hit a little adversity. I think that might be a weakness for this team, which is maybe does have a little more, you could say flamboyant players. But I mean, guys that, are a little more flashy, who maybe play better when they have this level of confidence, that when that confidence gets stinged, I'll be interested to see how they respond to that. But right now, it doesn't seem like there's any breaks on this train. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I mean, it was the Saints. You'd hope to beat the Saints in the manner you did, but who do you guys got coming up here? Let's pull up the Bears schedule and see if you guys got any.
Ravens coming up next, and probably expecting a healthy Lamar.
Now that's a tester right there. Right. I mean, granted, their defense is pretty beaten and battered, but that'll be an interesting game. You got one against the Giants a couple weeks after that. And then against the Vikings, I'm looking forward to this clash. I mean, not only because we will be there in person, but this November 16th clash of the Bears and the Vikings, I think is going to be, I think it's just going to be a good football game. I think it's I'd say fairly equally matched teams. They've had time to get acclimated, get up to speed. Hopefully JJ McCarthy has some reps at that point, and we're feeling more confident with him. I think that's going to be a great battle.
Yeah, I don't want to get too cocky, but it's like, yeah, I'm actually excited for that one, because there's a part of me that's like, not that I wouldn't wear a Bears jersey, but am I just going to be getting heckled the whole game? And
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's Vikings fans, dude.
I don't mind getting heckled the whole game. It's just getting heckled the whole game without a leg to stand on. I've got nothing to say without just being a drunk idiot. Like, I got nothing to say that's valid and be like, oh, you said this. Well, no, don't forget this, this, and this. And they're like, yeah, good point. Because that's how all rational fans of the opposing team are, right?
No, you'll be fine. There's like Minnesota Vikings fans are generally regarded as some of the best fans in the NFL. So you can expect some friendly heckling, but I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, Minnesota, nice, huh?
That said, if you start a fight, I might claim to not know you.
That's fine. My wife will take care of it.
There you go. Any other thoughts on Bears? Do you have 3 words for me?
Oh, yeah. It was 3 words were pads were popping.
Pads were popping.
Pads were popping. And even if you're losing, I think that is something that you can kind of hang your hat on. Just, you feel good because you know that there's the integrity's there, the desire, the want to. And that's ultimately what you want out of guys getting paid millions of dollars to play a child's game, right? Like that gets me juiced up more than like a 70-yard bomb, like the big hits. I know we got rid of, jacked up. That segment was the best. It was like, you see guys wanting to just impose their will. And like, you just see that Takeo Spikes clip that always comes around. You talk about Brian Dawkins.
Oh, where you like
I want to take
someone?
his soul. And Takeo's like, what? What'd you say? I want to take his soul. It's like, I want some of that.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Yeah, those are the kind of guys you want on your defense, for sure.
Absolutely. And so you can just see the way, too. You mentioned, I don't know if it was on the air right at the beginning of the pod, he's talking about Ben Johnson's post-game. He goes through, gets a game ball, have a speech, and it's a good, better, best. Never let it rest. To good, get better, better, get best. But the way that they're pounding in that chant, you can see everybody's bought in and not just, we got to do it because we got to do it because of the camera. You can see them like the inflection is the same intensity, which I think that's going to be the hanging word for a while. Maybe that's just the identity for this year is just the intensity's there. Yeah. It's not a bunch of guys getting paid to play. It's the guys that want to be there. And then you talked about just trusting it, be able to go more. I was like, well, they actually believe it. They say the trust. Now you'll be able to experience, I trust this and I'm going to trust this. I trusted it and it worked. Like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a team sport, a well-led team to me.
I think in NFL in particular, where you got a bunch of alpha male type guys in there, respect isn't given, it's earned. Right. And so I think Ben Johnson has gone about earning their respect, where maybe there isn't so much buy-in in the beginning of the league, and they're like, man, this guy's such a heart. Or did I say the beginning of the league? In the beginning of the year, maybe he doesn't quite have that respect. He's a new guy. Maybe players are testing him. They're like, oh man, he's such a hard ass. Like, F this guy, screw this team. But slowly, you stack 4 wins together, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, like him riding our ass is actually working. Like, okay, I bought in. I'm gonna follow this guy into battle because he knows what he's doing.
And these are the guys that at the end of middle of last year when they got their other coach fired, said, we want someone to hold us accountable. It's like, oh, now we're actually doing it. Is this good or bad? And now it's working. So it's pretty exciting. I know there's going to be ups and downs. I know we're not going to go undefeated, although it kind of feels like it because we're winning these ugly games, the ones we always lose, the last 4 in a row. And none of them were convincing games except for the Dallas game. So we're going to have to ride that wave. You have to keep me honest. I go a little too high. Next loss is going to probably feel like the Super Bowl we just lost. But, it's a momentum thing. It's part of, like I said at the beginning of the year, I want to be a fan of something again. And I'm starting to feel like I'm not gonna say proud, but like I'm getting permission to do that. You're
ready. You're ready to be heard again, dude. You're ready to get back out there. It's like getting dumped, and you're finally ready to get back out there and open yourself up again.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to watch the rest of the year too, because the 4,000 yard thing for a Bears quarterback hasn't happened yet, and that's a big topic.
Yeah,
games like today, you keep winning like this, it might not happen because we all know too, Bears were playing outside. They don't throw the ball much at the end of the year because it's cold and it's hard to do. That's gonna be a fun one because I want it to happen. Just like enough, and it'd be the real icing on the cake to say, all right, now we're a real 20th century offense instead of 21st century offense. But another point of like the monkey off the back here. This is the first time the Bears have beaten the Saints. I think first time out of like the last 8 or something like that.
Really?
So just another turning point for
the franchise.
New regime, turnover. Like it's where is it at? Bears hadn't beaten the Saints since 2008. So this is the first win against the Saints in, what is that now?
Close to 20 years. Yeah. Just under 20 years.
So if there's anything there, the identity, intensity, run game resurgence, defense being opportunistic. I mean, is it sustainable? I don't know. The run game, you'd think, the defense probably not, but your highest paid players on defense should be making plays on the ball, whether that's at safety, pass rush especially. But it's got me in an optimistic mood, and that's all I got to say about that.
That's good. Well, enjoy the moment. You got a whole week before they could potentially jeopardize that feeling, so I'd say hold on to it. I'm sure the Chicago sports podcast and radio and blog network is just going to be on cloud 9 all week long. So have
it's going to be a lot more fun to listen in, that's for sure, because I think the game's at Baltimore at noon on Sunday the 26th. So I'm going to soak up a couple more this week, because sometimes you get too negative. It's like, all right, enough is enough. I got to get to my real life. But no, I was like, we were good that game. So,
you sure were.
Not to rub it in, but let's transition to your woeful Vikings there, man. Let's
pump the brakes. I wouldn't say it was completely woeful. I will say when the game concluded, I turned to my wife. The first thing I said is, there's going to be a lot of upset Vikings fans. This is, I think there's definitely some nuance to be had in this game. What I will say overall, if this is where we needed to be to win the game at any point of the game, we were just always right here. You know, we were just one step, one play behind being in a winning position. We just could not take that step over that line. And it was tough. It was a fairly close game, closer than you'd expect, with a pick six fairly early on by Carson Wentz, who I really lay the blame for this loss at his feet. I see KOC catching a lot of flack, which I don't agree with. I thought KOC called a great game. I think there was a lot of great open reads. Carson Wentz might have had one of the most inaccurate performances I've seen by an NFL quarterback.
26 of 42, 313 yards and 2 picks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like the 26 over 42. It's just the way he missed it. He's just, these were open receivers he was missing all day. There was like some really bad ones on like a swing pass to a running back. You know, he got a running back out in the flat. He's looking right. Running back's out to the left. He turns and throws it behind, like 7 yards behind me. It would have been a fumble if it stayed in bounds. Like nowhere close to the running. And there's like close to 10 throws like that this entire game where he just like is not, like he has an open receiver. Again, the play calling was there. The receivers are getting open and he's just missing like pretty badly. And I don't know if this, there's a hitch in his throw right now because he's got this, his non-throwing shoulder is a little dinged up. I don't know if that's affecting the way he's throwing. I will say the Eagles were getting a decent amount of pressure that, he saw a lot of bodies around his feet, so he wasn't able to step into all the throws, but it was just an ugly performance. It reminded me a lot of Sam Darnold in his final 2 games as the Vikings, of pissing down his leg a little bit. I would call this a piss down his leg performance if this game held more weight to the Vikings. It was kind of just, a mid-season game, but
well, it was his comeback. You're not comeback game, but it was his rivalry game.
Yeah.
Go back to Eagles.
Yeah, and he said before the game, he's like, yeah, this might have mattered to me more when I was younger, earlier in my career, but it doesn't really matter as much to me these days. It's like, well, Carson, maybe it should have mattered a little more. All right, because you played like dog shit. I mean, granted, he put up like 300 yards passing. He did have some nice long completions to Jordan Addison. Him and Addison were connecting all day on some nice intermediate to deep passes, but he just really was making some very strange decisions. There's one where we're in the red zone and he just makes a boneheaded intentional grounding. He's kind of getting rushed, the pocket's collapsing. You're in the red zone, just throw it out the back of the end zone, and he just like chucks it at the feet, like flips it to the feet of his offensive lineman. No one in the area. And it's just like, why? Like, you're 30 some years old. You've been playing in the league for, close to a decade now. Why take the intentional grounding here instead of throwing it away? Which leads to the next theme of this loss, which is 1 for 6 in the red zone with touchdowns. We had to kick 5 field goals, which Reichard, my boy, Will the Thrill, perfect on the day. Yeah. But just could not get the ball in the end zone. Particularly Carson Wentz could not. The only time we did get it in was Jordan Mason taking a snap at quarterback in the Wildcat and barely getting it in. And again, I don't think these are on KOC at all. I thought KOC did a good job calling plays. Carson Wentz just had a remarkably bad performance. And then on the flip side, you look at Jalen Hurts, where our defensive strategy very obviously was to try and make Jalen Hurts beat us with his arm, which be careful what you wish for, because that's exactly what we did. I mean, we held him to like 40 yards rushing, something like that. I don't have the box score in front of me, but
Saquon was 18 of 44, Bigsby 1 of 11, Hurts 4 for -10, but he also threw 19 of 23, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. So that's a day.
Yeah, and he just had a few dagger throws. I mean, there's just, if you take a look back at the game or like look at it on a play-by-play basis, what's really frustrating about this is it feels like the Vikings won more plays than the Eagles. It feels like they would win 2 good plays. Like, the Eagles weren't great on third down. We shut them down on a lot of third downs. Like, the 3 or I think it was, they only had like 3 third down conversions in the game, and they were all like 12 or 3rd and 12 or longer, and they just kept killing us. On just these dagger throws. And I'd say the second biggest party to blame for this loss was our defensive backfield. Just kind of an ugly, like they got beat. AJ Brown over the top of Josh Metellus on one of them at the play at the very end that iced the game. Isaiah Rodgers just bites on this hitch and go again from AJ Brown and gets beat over the top. Just a rough game. These are like, particularly on that last play, Isaiah Rodgers had Josh Metellus underneath. He doesn't need to bite on that hitch at all. And it was just rough. Jalen Hurts just killed us on a few big plays. I mean, I think all three of they have 3 touchdowns, but I mean, they had like 3 long passing at least 2 long passing touchdowns where the coverage just didn't do its job. Either largely was just letting receivers get behind them, which sucks because, again, I think on a play-by-play basis, I think the Vikings won more plays, even on offense too. Like, I think our offense in general won more plays over the course of the game, but the plays we lost spectacularly. Well, there's interceptions or pick sixes.
So did that pick 6 really, obviously 6 points is the difference in the game, 28-22 as the Eagles go 5-2, Vikings are 3-3, but like, was that pick 6 really the deciding moment? Because I'm hearing a couple of different things. The secondary wasn't holding up the receivers. Jalen Hurts beat it so with the pass. Wentz was pissing down his leg. But a pick 6, like, that's pretty immediate. Does that support or kind of take away from your point of, it felt like you guys were winning more plays, it just didn't show up that way? Or was it really more of the ass kicking?
No, so that's why I'm bringing it back to this, where if like this is where we needed to be to win the game, the entire, even as this line goes up, we're just staying right below it, and we could not get above. Or if you're looking at like maybe one of those win probability charts, we just could never get into an advantageous situation where, again, it's like we'll win 75% of the plays and then we throw a pick 6, or we're winning 75% of the plays and then Jalen Hurts throws a 78-yard touchdown pass to friggin' skinny Batman, whatever they call him, Devontae Smith. Yeah.
Hey, don't you throw shade. We'll get to this later. 33.3 points for my fantasy team, my dynasty team.
I'm not throwing any shade. No, that's their names. No, AJ Brown is Batman. Devontae Smith is skinny Batman, and then what was it? Quez Watkins was Speedy Batman or Fast Batman. That was like their nicknames.
I gotta do some research. Shame on me.
That was that's a deep cut right there. That was from a few years ago. But
shame on me.
Yeah, and it's just like we got killed by a few big plays when, like, I think overall, on a play-by-play basis, it was probably more 60-40 Vikings. Again, I think we had some good play calls, and Carson Wentz just played like a knucklehead. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm thinking about some of the Bears stuff going on. Like, I'm going to relate this back to this game in a second. We have the Bears O-line kind of took a similar restructure to like the Vikings did. You have your outside guys, kind of, but you guys definitely do. But then you drafted a new guard and then paid a center guard. We went guard, center guard, and it didn't look great the first couple weeks. And now we see last week really good run offense, and then now this is a really great run offense. They started to gel, and you got some veterans and trying to make sense of the whole thing. What's kind of the deal with the offensive line? Like, I know the center's got another concussion. That might be it. I don't know. The guard's young, and the other guard has got an injury history. Is it not gelling? Is it just not as talented as what you're paying for? Like, because that's, to me, yeah, I know Wentz came late in the offseason, but hearing a lot of these just missing guys it's probably a lack of comfort in the pocket. And so that's ultimately what I gave all that pretext to say is the offensive line kind of where you thought, because the run game was meh, 57 yards and touch for Mason. Wentz had a couple, but I'm sure those were scrambles.
Yeah, I'd say.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not where we thought it was going to be in the preseason or where we hoped it would be. It's definitely looking very similar to the line we had last year, which is, it was a middling line. To be honest, like this game, one of the couple of games, maybe two other, like this and one other game, 2 other games, pretty much our other wins. Actually, one of the wins, they weren't great. I think there was like one of the games, I'll just say, where this wasn't, I would say, the offensive line's fault. This wasn't one where the offensive line doomed this game, and it was fairly consistent. Although, I think, and God, I've missed talking about a play, and it's like Carson Wentz put up an entire blooper reel just in this single game, there's a blooper reel because one of our first trips to the red zone, ball gets like hiked early, plus like way over his head by Blake Brandel, who this is like his second game ever playing center. And I think they took him out. I think they took Blake Brandel out and actually put the backup center in after that point.
Okay.
So that, again, you got some more offensive line shuffling. Christian Darrisaw, I think he played the entire game, but like last game he was on a pitch count. So yeah, I mean, it's not where we thought it would be. It seemed like more of an interior line thing when there was pressure. Granted, you're talking about Jalen Carter here, who's definitely one of the premier young defensive linemen, and particularly interior defensive linemen. You got Jordan Carter, I think is his name, who's just a giant. Right next to him, Jordan Davis.
They played together at Georgia.
They did. I really wanted us to draft Jordan Davis. I can't remember who we ended up getting with the pick. I think we might have got Addison with that pick, but I really wanted Jordan Davis.
Are you keeping Addison? Big game like this, but are you making the effort to pay him?
I think we have to. I mean, he's when him and Jefferson are on the field, Addison does very well. Like he's such a good, I mean, he's just like the top tier. He's a top tier wide receiver too. He could probably be the wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams and not be as effective, but he's just a perfect complement to Jefferson, and that the kind of coverages that Jefferson gets allows Addison to be like, allows any team to get the most out of Addison. Is like, he's just in the perfect role to get maximum production. And I think you kind of have to, I mean, but like, you'd have to pay him like the Eagles are. You have to pay JJ's got a massive contract, and then Devontae Smith's gonna be over 20 anyway. Or like Miami, you got Tyreek and you got Waddle. Like, that's a lot of money, especially because you just spent a ton. Offensive, defensive line. You got some young guys you're gonna have to pay. Like, it's something. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the benefit of having a QB on a rookie contract, right? Is so that you can extend some of those offers. But I don't know. Sure. I mean, I'm sure Kwesi's the kind of guy where he'll listen to any offer. I think he's probably looking for something like a first in return. Like, I don't think he's, unless it's like a really bad team, maybe it's like a second and a fifth or something like that. But I think he's going to be looking for a pretty nice return. This isn't, I don't think he's a guy we're going to flip for a 5th rounder at this point. I think he's going to one, because you got to pay him if you trade for him. But I can definitely see the value of like a 2 and either a player or another pick or something. Mm-hmm. Because when you talk about having the rookie quarterback too, this was the armchair conversation at the buddy's house before we hopped on here. Is, all right, do you keep doing this retread with the quarterback whispering a new quarterback every year and just keep JJ on the bench? Do the Rodgers duration, do the Jordan Love duration, or are you giving up on him entirely? You want to keep him, let him tutelage, or are you more of the other side of the argument was just throw him in the fire? He's got to get his reps, and it is what it is. Where do you sit, and what do you think's reasonable? Oh, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that we need to get JJ McCarthy back out there. I mean, they started him week 1 and week 2. I truly think that they want him to be fully healthy. I think maybe KOC wants a little bit more practice with him as the starter with a healthy ankle before he goes out there. And obviously, like Carson Wentz, it doesn't look like you're winning a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. I think, you don't. You need to get JJ McCarthy out there for sure. Like you got to see what you have in this kid and be prepared to have some ups and downs. But there's no sense in spending such high draft capital on this guy and not putting him out there. And KOC is a little. He's got a quote he's somewhat famous for where he's saying, organizations are just as much to blame for letting down young quarterbacks as young quarterbacks are for letting down organizations. And I think he's very cognizant of the fact that, like, hey, this is a very formative time in a young quarterback's career. And there's this whole conversation about, like, was it a soft benching with this ankle and putting, sitting JJ McCarthy and starting Carson Wentz? I thought so. I think I'll be honest, and I hope this isn't true because I don't love this mentality, but part of me just wonders if we didn't want to put him out there against the trio of Steelers defensive line, Cleveland Browns defensive line, and then Eagles defensive line. Like that, those are three of perhaps the scariest, or at least those units have some of the scariest defensive linemen that are out there that are big and strong and physical, and they're going to get to the quarterback. You got TJ Watt on the Steelers, you got Myles Garrett on the Browns, maybe the top two best edge rushers in the game, and then you have Jalen Carter, Jordan, I already blanked on his name, but the other big fella is Jordan Davis. So part of me does wonder if it's in part, let's let him get to 100%, and then also, like, especially if he's not 100%, let's not throw him out against these units that could just re-injure him. And then the flip side is like, why would you put it back out there against these teams? Like, hindsight is always 2020, and fans are always there's been a level of armchair GMing and armchair coaching from the Minnesota fans over the last 2 or 3 weeks that is so annoying, because people are just all they can think about is the last game. It's the only thing they're so short-sighted, and it's
recency biased. And what have you done for me lately?
Right, and it's so frustrating to hear him. It's like, okay, this is a long season, right? It doesn't make sense to rush him out. That doesn't mean he's got a soft bench. It's like, maybe there's some nuance into this decision making, and like, yeah, we should let him play, but like, do we want to go throw him out there when he's not 100% against like 3 of the most formidable defensive lines out there, especially when our offensive line's been playing like dog shit? Like, that sounds like you're failing your young quarterback. Like, let's set him up to, if someone's gonna get beat up, let's go throw out Carson. Maybe he'll show some flashes enough to get signed to a starting contract next year. We'll get our conditional 3rd round pick. That's probably playing into the equation a little bit. It's like, hey, let's go get some other team to bite on another KOC school for QBs that don't throw good project. So I'm going off on a tangent here, but I will say I have one other idea that's connected to this. I'll pause. Yeah. Am I rambling too much, and or do you have any questions based off what I just said?
No, rambling too much, never, because I mean that's I guarantee you a lot of Vikings fans are thinking along those lines. If they didn't connect those dots yet, you just made it for them, because it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just really, it would surprise me if that was fully it. I'm not saying there's not shades of truth to it, but because with how aggressive KOC is as a play caller, to not want to get his guy back out there. But again, if he's healthy, why would you compound it, especially if you're just trying to hold on to the season? Because clearly they don't see Wentz as the season-winning guy. Yeah. Unrelated to that, so I'll let you finish up, because I'm going to ask 5 and 2 are the Eagles the real deal? I haven't watched them play, but let's have you finish up your, whether it's a quarterback question or comment, or if it's the Vikings in general.
This is going to go back to coaching style and like this theme of JJ McCarthy's been sitting. Has he been sitting for too long? Should we put him back out there? One thing I actually just learned, which I'll share for anyone that hears this, a lot of people are like, well, if he was going to sit for 6 weeks, why didn't you use a short-term IR spot on him? I just found this out. You only get 8 of those per year. You only get 8 short-term IRs, and we've already used 6 of them.
So that means you can put anybody you want on IR as many times as you want. What Will's saying is that there's only 8 that can return to play this season.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of makes a little sense. It's like, if you think there's a chance he can play, like, especially in this game, it's like he was our emergency quarterback. Like, he was suited up and he could have played if the other 2 quarterbacks.
3/4 of them through the first third of the year. We just finishing up week 6. We're recording this. The Sunday Night Football game's going on, and we're week 7. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
and so the other thing I'm thinking of is one other thing I've seen from the Vikings this year that I haven't seen from, I've never really seen the Vikings do. I don't know if this is more common in the NFL teams, but we're seeing guys on snap counts. We're seeing Christian Darrisaw playing partial games, Harrison Smith playing partial games, Andrew Van Ginkel came in, played partial games. And what that makes me think is, and maybe this is having this early bye week plays into this as well, but I really do think they're trying to remain healthy basically until the playoffs and really try and hit their peak in the playoffs. It's like, we don't want to look like we're doing really good week 11, 12, 13. I think they're sort of building this plane while they're flying it and trying to figure out how to win games between the quarterback and the O-line adjustments. I think they're hoping that they will sneak into the playoffs, and at that point JJ McCarthy is going to like have gained some traction, and they're hoping to make a splash in playoffs, because look at what winning a playoff game or two can do for a QB's reputation, right?
Yes.
Look at Joe Burrow. Look at Joe Burrow. He, first or second season, he gets to the AFC Championship, loses to the Colts, and it just shoots you to another tier of stardom, and which, like, that shouldn't really affect team success, but I think there is definitely from the GM and the head coach's mind that have a lot invested in this kid, JJ McCarthy, where just a playoff win, even a wild card win, can go a long way in securing their job and making them look good. So I think bring this back to the pitch count. I feel like, and this is where the short-term fans don't see it, and what irritates me is they don't see the season-long vision. Like, the GMs and the coaches are looking at it from back here, and it's not to say these games don't matter as much, but these middle of the season games, it's okay, we can gamble on these a little bit more right now. What's important is keeping our guys healthy, not rushing them back to these midseason games just for them to get injured again, and trying to keep people fresh for the end of the year, and again, trying to hopefully set JJ McCarthy up for success. You don't want to put Christian Darrisaw back out there too soon, and then he's out for the year, or he's out for the end of the season or something. So that was a tangent, but I think that's one thing that gets lost is there's multiple levels of nuance into all these coaching decisions, and why they're starting Wentz over JJ McCarthy, or why someone's on a snap count, or all these things. Mostly it's the quarterback decision, but I will say it will be interesting after this outing where Carson looked really rough. Vikings are on a short week. We're playing Thursday. It'll be interesting to see who starts on Thursday. There's going to be some loud calls for JJ McCarthy after this performance, for sure.
Well, I bet, because you guys are going, where's that at? It's definitely Thursday night. You guys are going to be in Los Angeles to play the Chargers, who are 4-3. Mm-hmm. No one for running the ball. Running backs are hurt. Somehow Keenan Allen had a resurgent game today, and their defense was supposed to be hard-nosed. Now, you guys are now 3-3, and the worst team in the division in the entire league. Meaning the fourth ranked team in the division is, you are the best one at that, meaning 3-3. No one is more than that. Mm-hmm. So I guess silver lining for those hanging on the cliff, just take a half step back for me, baby.
Yep.
You'll be okay.
Hey, we're 500 we're 500. I'll take 500 right now.
Yeah, exactly. So going to the Chargers, have you had a chance to even think about the Chargers, or is it really you're more concerned about what the Vikings are doing, what the Chargers might scare you with, like Derwin James, Herbert, McConkey, names that just come to mind immediately, Harbaugh effect? Where's your mind going in that game? I mean,
they're going to be a somewhat well-coached team. I haven't watched them too closely. I think they're on the TV right now, but they're really dinged up. So I think this is going to be a toss-up, kind of like this Eagles game was, where it's going to be an any given Sunday type situation. It's going to be whichever team shows up ready to play. I think it's going to get the win. I don't think there's a colossal advantage, I would say. If I had to bet, love my Vikings, but I think I'm taking the Chargers here. I just can't really trust my Vikings, but I wouldn't give the Chargers much of an edge right now.
That's fair. So if I told you at home the Chargers are -2.5, you would say
take the Chargers -2.5.
And are you taking the over or the under at 43.5?
Probably taking the over. I think our defense, I guess, I don't know. The Brian Flores defense is so interesting because it looks so good until it doesn't. It was winning. I mean, if we look at the defense specifically from this game, it won 80% plus of the plays, 85%. But it's those 15% of the plays just killed us. And that always seems to be the thing with Brian Flores' defense, where it looks good until a running back takes off for a 60-yard touchdown, or there's a 80-yard throw. I don't know what it is. I will say I've been singing Brian Flores' praises since he came here, but ever since he has came here, we keep hearing stats like we heard today, which with it like Devontae Smith, most receiving yards in a single game ever. I keep hearing stats like that where teams just have their best game ever against the Vikings, and it's usually the other team's offense. So
what happened to Isaiah Rodgers today? Well, I thought he was the slot king. I thought he was the coverage guy, and I thought the Eagles were trying to bring him back.
Any given Sunday, man. I mean, he had a rough game. I think maybe he was being overly opportunistic. I think that's why he wanted to try and jump that hitch and go right at the end of the game and be the savior against his former team. And maybe the Eagles knew that about him. Maybe they know he's opportunistic and he'll jump a route if he thinks he's gonna be this savior, this hero. So rough game from him. I think he might have had like one good pass breakup on Devontae Smith around the sidelines, but he gave up a couple big plays and not nearly as good of a game as he had against the Bengals. I'll say that.
Yeah, tape don't lie.
It does not.
What else? Well, I wanted to ask you a couple of general league things real quick before we get to our wrap up.
You asked me, are the Eagles legit? Are they like looking like Super Bowl?
That's what I'm getting towards here, because I'm looking at the conference standings, and Colts are 6-1, Patriots 5-2, Broncos 5-2, Steelers 4-2, Bills 4-2. Everything else is that's the top 5 teams in the AFC. That's anybody who's 4-2 or better. In the NFC, got a lot more. 5-1, Tampa. 4-1-1, Green Bay. 5-2, 5-2, Eagles and Rams. Niners are playing right now. They're 4-2. Seattle, Detroit, and the Bears all 4-2. So I know it's still early, but Eagles being right now third in the NFC, it seem appropriate. Like it just, when you think about some of the other teams, like the Colts are the best team in the league right now, record-wise. Like, what are we doing? You're still trying to calibrate what the year is.
Yeah. Who's top dog here?
Yeah, Drake May is the best quarterback right now. Like, and Josh Allen isn't.
Yeah. Drake May did the old Space Jam. Like, he got Josh Allen to touch one of those enchanted footballs, and then he just took all of his skill.
That's funny. And then you got Baker Mayfield for MVP. Like, what are we doing? Or you have a 5 touchdown game from the ageless Stafford out in London or something this morning too. It's like, what's going on? So Eagles are +5 differential, meaning they've scored 5 more points they've given up this year. After getting a chance to see them play for the first time this season, everything I'm hearing, I'm kind of putting together because I haven't watched them yet either. We know the offensive struggles early in the complaints, but like it seems like they're still trying to figure things out, much like how I described the Bears. There's frustrating things, there's redeemable things. It can work, and they seem to be building, but I don't feel like anything you've said today is like convincing that they are dominant or what they should be.
No, yeah, I would definitely say this is a game the Vikings lost more than the Eagles won, because the Eagles gave the Vikings chance after chance after chance to come back and take this game, and again the Vikings just could never get over that gap. I think the Eagles are good. I think they've taken a step back for sure from winning the Super Bowl last year. I think at the end of the day, being the masters of the tush push, just being able to execute that play gives them such a competitive advantage that even though they've taken a step back, it's like, it just feels like cheating, especially since they're the only team that can pull it off. It just feels like being able to, it gives them like an extra down. It just, because you only have to go 9 yards every 4 plays instead of 10 yards every 3. It totally changes the formula. It's
the efficiency goes way up. You just kind of know it's going to happen. It's boring, but it works.
Yeah, that's it. It's boring, but it works. It's like, it turns out you don't have to be that good of a football team when you're operating under, with an extra down and 1 less yard to go.
Right.
I don't think they're that good though. Like their defense wasn't great. Again, we should have won that game. We could have won that game handily. You talk about, like, say we don't throw a pick 6. Say Carson Wentz hits, he left, we're in the red zone, 5-6 times? We were 1 for 6 for touchdowns in the red zone. There should have been like 3 more easy touchdowns that he just whiffed on, just completely whiffed on. Like, we should have, like, with better, like with a not even perfect quarterback play, but like adequate, like strong, like give me a, like Matt Stafford probably kills them.
Sure.
So no, I don't think their offense didn't look particularly inspired outside of the like 3 bombs or 4 bombs that just killed us. The running game was was lacking. Offensive line didn't hold up great. Jalen Hurts did a few Jalen Hurts things, but I didn't think they were that good. Are definitely a playoff team. Definitely boosted by the fact that they can pull off the tush push, but you take away the tush push, I don't think they're that good of a team. Really, I mean they're like a wild card team without the tush push is what I would say.
Well, that's going to be, I think, something the league's going to be tracking too. I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
I've got one more question for you, just about the league and where we're at so far this season, and then I'll ask it, I'll answer it, and then I'll let you answer.
Sure.
Just so you have a chance to think about it. I know I'm catching you off guard here. One team, so obviously can't pick the Vikings. One team in the American League and one team in the NFC that you want to watch or find intriguing. And more so, not like who's the best team in that, but like who gets you to the TV? Who are you curious about? And for me, in the NFC, it's basically any of the teams in the NFC West, other than the Cardinals. But if I had to lean somewhere right now, like the Rams and Seahawks would be my, like, if I had a coin flip, I'd be just interested because they're not exactly built the way I would build a team. And they're coming up with some strange wins or somehow have explosive offenses with guys hurt.
Yeah.
The defense is relentless. For both of those teams. I've always been a Stafford fan. Like I felt like I've now been able to come out of the closet on that for a couple of years because it was not allowed in my house when it was in Detroit. So, I get it. And then in the AFC, it's Jacksonville, mostly because Trevor Lawrence, whatever. Brian Thomas Jr. won me a championship last year. He's not doing anything. Travis Hunter, whatever. It might be a failed experiment, but the Liam Cohen thing, the Duval, that guy. And not so much that I'm overly intrigued by him as the coach. We saw what he did with Tampa. That's what got him here. But just who is this person that might break their Jacksonville curse? That might be able to overcome the organization issue. Very similar. Why it's intriguing is because that's exactly the same storyline we have with the Bears. Who is this Ben Johnson guy that's like taking over, like excited about taking on, not woefully excited, but like actually excited and intense about taking on bad ownership and trying to flip the script on all these things. So I think from a leadership standpoint, I want to see that happen because this year I'm not invested in any Jaguars in fantasy either. So it's just, I find that intriguing. So those are mine. I'm going to go with Rams and Seattle as a tie for the NFC, and then I'm going to go with the Jags and the AFC. So the question again was, one team AFC, one team NFC, can't be the Vikings. Who are you most interested to watch? Who intrigues you? What team gets you to a TV, etc.?
Yeah, I would have also, for the NFC, the Rams were also on my short list. They do seem to just definitely have some juice right now. Matt Stafford, who seemed to have a lot of injury concerns, like his back seemed screwed up going into the season, erased all those question marks. And Sean McVay, he was talking about retiring a few years ago. I feel like maybe he's recaptured some fire for the job because I feel like he's just coaching like crazy right now. Yeah, without Puka. But you already said the Rams, so I'm going to go with, for the NFC, the Bucks. And mostly just the cult of personality around Baker Mayfield. I mean, the dude is just, he's exactly what I would want in a quarterback. Just hard-nosed. Man. Yeah, cocky, confident. He's bullying the defensive players. And he just wins. I mean, he wills it to victory. I just like watching them play. So I'll go with the Bucks. They're looking great so far, despite them also being very, very banged up. But they've been fun to watch, and I like watching Baker Mayfield play. I think he might be one of my favorite QBs to watch in the league right now. He throws the ball well. Not afraid of dealing out hits on the run. He just makes it work.
Good for him too, because I think a lot of people are sharing that. I definitely do. And that's kind of where, having to say that too, I triggered along the lines of, okay, well, I said Seahawks and Rams. You just said Bucks. Like, okay, well, they were quarterbacks that didn't really start to click till, 5th, 6th, 7th year in a different organization. Not, those organizations, the Browns failed Baker, the Jets, the Panthers failed Darnold and Baker. And you find someone that works. So I guess that's going to be something to continue. I'm going to be in the back of my mind when I ask about JJ every couple of weeks, just because I find that interesting. But how about for the AFC? What American League, American Conference team.
Hold on. Before we get into the AFC, I'm going to flip your question around and say which NFC team I'm least excited about, or I think is perhaps most overhyped. And I just,
Yeah.
I'm going to go out of my way to hate, because why wouldn't I? But goddamn it, the Packers are the most illegitimate winning team. They are barely beating terrible football teams, and they keep
didn't beat the Dallas Cowboys after giving us shit.
I feel like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. It's like they can't keep getting away with this. They're not, like, they just I watched them barely beat the Cardinals, who just lost to the Titans without their starting quarterback. It's just they keep finding ways to tiptoe over the line to a victory. And who do they have wins against? They have wins against the Raiders.
So Lions,
I'm way
lost
far
to the
back.
Browns, tied the Cowboys, beat the Joe Flacco Bengals, and the Cardinals. That's who they've played so far. They've beaten the Lions, Commanders, Bengals, and Cardinals, tied the Cowboys. That's why they're technically the lead in our division right now.
Just ridiculous. Screw those guys. I cannot wait for them to crash down to reality.
That's the thing that gets so annoying too, because they play the same division as us, so they have all the same opponents. The only thing that changes is where they play them, because of what your rank was last year. Next games, primetime Steelers.
Hey, Raj, that'll be a fun one.
I hope they both lose. Home versus the Panthers, home versus the Eagles, at the Giants. And then you guys have back-to-back division games, because the week they played the Giants, you play the Bears, and then the 23rd, the week before Thanksgiving, y'all play the Vikings, the Packers in Minneapolis.
Yep.
And that'd be the first time you see them, because then you play them the last game of the year.
Yeah, although I think the one before Thanksgiving we're in Green Bay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading this. I'm on the Green Bay thing. You're totally right. I'm on the Green Bay page. I never do that.
Anyway, I think they're totally illegitimate.
Maybe I take that back, because I'm looking how the season finishes for the the Packers. All right, so take Thanksgiving on. You have the Vikings at home. You're in Detroit. You have the Bears at home. You're in Denver. You're in Chicago. You've got the Ravens at home, and then you finish at the Vikings. We might have some solace yet, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so.
Oh my God!
I hope there's an epic collapse that will taste very sweet.
We'll have to put the Jesse Pinkman thumbnail. We can't keep getting away with this. Yeah. Gotta do it. I love that reference. All right, let's talk fantasy and get the hell out of here. How are you doing in your top
AFC
league?
team that I'm watching?
AFC team, you're right.
The Colts, mostly because I have Jonathan Taylor on all three of my fantasy teams, and just kind of love watching a quarterback redemption arc with Daniel Jones. I actually haven't even watched any of their games, but there's so many Jonathan Taylor highlights on that. I feel like they're frequently featured on my broadcast. Plus, I got former Viking Cam Bynum, who I was a fan of. So glad to see them doing well. I love not only a reclamation quarterback story, but also a good underdog story. I don't think anyone would have predicted the Colts to be top record in the NFL at this point in the season, but hats off to them.
Right. So on March 11th of this year, they signed Daniel Jones to a 1-year, $14 million contract. That means he's a free agent coming up. Is he going to be re-enlisted in the Kevin O'Connell School for quarterbacks who don't throw too good?
There's no way that the Colts let him go. I'll have him back at this point. The way he's playing. So
you think Richardson shipped out? You think Richardson's going to be like a Raiders or a
Well, now maybe Richardson is in the school for quarterbacks that don't throw good.
Good grief.
KOC, after we played him a few years ago, he made a point to go up to Anthony Richardson and tell him he's a hell of a player. And people have been speculating for a while that he could be a prospect for KOC's school.
Yuck. I'm good.
Fantasy, yeah. Tell me about fantasy.
Well, your boy is 4-2. There's a 5-1 team and 2 4-2 teams. I'm one of those 4-2 teams. 4-2 team is playing the 5-1 team and absolutely belt to ass right now. I'm projected 143 this week.
Nice.
I got Nico Collins to go. He's projected 81 this week, but he's got Baker, Gibbs, and Jamison Williams to go. I'm feeling pretty confident. The other guy who's 4-2, this is again the Dynasty League. It's loading. He's probably going to win his matchup, so it's going to be a points thing between he and I for who's going to be the top seed this week. But then, yeah, I'm just getting a little bit closer. I went a little ham on my league data, mid-season evaluation, just who's going to be where, what needs for the teams after, whose contracts expiring, whose dollars are at, who's going to need to spend on what position. Just to practice, see if I like the format when I do it at the end of the year. But that'll be fun to track. But yeah, 5-2 going into week 8 and not really confident. Still trying to sell and make some moves too. So we'll see. Again, I'm out of the Chop League and I can't check ESPN, but I'm sure I'm losing because I'm 2-4 in that league. Bowers was out. Caleb did not play well. And I don't think DJ had a great day either. So James Cook is on bye. So I'm sure that team is getting waxed. So that's my week.
Nice. Well, a little up, a little down, but
you know what? I gotta thank Bo Nix for showing up in the second half because I think he had like 3 points against the Giants and going to halftime and finished with 39 and change, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, bunch of yards. Quinshad Judkins, 3 touchdowns in the Raymond Miami. Let's go.
Boom.
And then the quiet whisper of Skinny Batman. 9 catches, 183 and a touchdown. Now you're going to be the thorn in my side. I'm never going to let that go now. It's like a little thing in your ear. It's like every time.
That was his nickname for a year. And Quest Watkins was Speedy Batman.
As soon as you said that, I remember the Super Bowl year and you had Jason Kelsey was walking around. The year before that, it was a dog mask. Then it was the Batman things. I remember. Yep. I remember. It's coming back to me. Anyway, that's my week. Feeling confident. Probably going to make some moves next week anyway. So see if I can sell some guys off on a high. Where are your teams at? How you feeling?
Dude, perfect fantasy week. We got 3 wins dialed up here. Survivor League, we're rolling. We took the Chiefs. We're feeling a little unsure about the Chiefs in that divisional matchup, but turns out there was nothing to be worried about. Lots of people got chopped because they didn't get their answers in, so I think a lot of people got assigned the Jets. So
what a rookie ass move, dude.
Yeah, I know.
And they lost to Carolina. Like, you never know what you're gonna get with Carolina. And I haven't watched them play. Obviously, we all know about the Rico Dowdle arc, but to see that the run defense has not been great, or is the only thing. Sorry, the run defense is the only thing they can count on. You never know what you're gonna get week to week out of them.
Yeah, that's true. If I have to pick the Panthers in my Survivor League, I'm not going to be sleeping good that night. So hopefully it doesn't come to that point.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what this week looks like because you've gone through quite a few good teams. So it's going to be how much research and how much time and patience and how much you're just going with your gut.
That's right. Well, knowing me, it's probably going with the gut, but I think I got a good plan for the next few weeks. So we'll keep you informed there.
Good deal.
Cool. All right, any last thoughts, Jason, or should we put a bow on this thing?
Nah, man, all I gotta say is we are streaking 4-2, 4 in a row. But don't forget, Bears were 4-2 last year before they got a 10-game losing streak. So.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't get my 3 words in. I'll sign off with my 3 words, which is overstayed your welcome. In regards to Carson Wentz, he has overstayed his welcome. Time to get JJ McCarthy back in there. He has officially lost he did fine winning us and keeping us afloat, but he just put a whole L on his shoulders. Time to go. Let's get JJ McCarthy in there.
Damn, that was quick. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Support your other the real quarterback, the one you're building the franchise around. So can't knock that, dude.
Brosmer.
Well, happy week 7 here, man. I can't wait for week 8.
You too. All right. Will and Jason with Run the North. We are signing off.